Hello guys, the second video in Android Volley tutorial series. In this video, I am going to show you how to make a simple request using Volley. Here we are going to create a simple Android application that make a string request, get a string from server and display the string on a text view. So before going to create the Android application, we need to set up a server. So here I am going to using a local host. Here I already installed WAMP server, so I have to start WAMP server. So here the green icon indicates that WAMP server is now ready. So first thing we have to create a simple PHP script. So I open my favorite text editor. Change language into PHP. First here I am going to save this file. Save as. I save it on desktop with file name greetings.php. Save it. Now create some simple PHP script. Just print some message. Hello from server. Okay. Now save this file again. Save it again. Now this file available on desktop. Now I copy this file. Go to the Windows directory. Go to the installation folder of WAMP server. Go to the public directory of the server and put that file here. Okay, now the file available inside the WAMP server. Before going to use that file, we can test that file. So open your browser and type localhost and our file name is greetings.php. Yeah, it simply give a string hello from server. So the file is working fine. Now we can create our Android application. So open Android Studio. Start a new Android Studio project. Specify application name. I name it as Volley demo. Click next. Click next. Select an empty activity. Click next. And click finish. Okay, now the project is ready. So this application needs to download some data from a remote server. So first we need to specify the internet permission. So open manifest folder, open Android manifest.xml, and you have to specify the permission for access the internet. Users permission and specify the internet permission. Close this file. So here now first thing we need to add the external library for Volley. So you need to add a dependency. Open your Gradle script file. Now you need to add the needed dependency for Volley. Okay, so now make a project sync. Okay, now the project sync finishes. Now we successfully add Volley library to our Android application. Now close this one. And now go to activity main.xml. There is no need of this text view. I remove that one. So first here I am going to add a large text view to display the response from server. So here I put a large text view. Now to get the response we need a button. So I add a button. Now change the text into server response and change the ID of the text view into txt. Yes, we need to change all these things. Now change the button text into get server data and change the ID of the button into bn. Okay, now go to main activity.java. First here we need to declare some variables. First declare a variable for button. I name it as button. Now declare a variable for text view. I name it as text view. First we need to initialize these variables. So first I am going to initialize the button variable. Typecast that one into button. Now find it. Now initialize the second variable text view. Typecast that one into text view. Now find it. Okay. So now we have to specify the URL. We have to specify the server URL. So create a string variable, string server URL. So now here our server is the localhost, and here I use a Genymotion virtual device. So for get the localhost, we have to know the IP address of this computer. So open your command prompt and type ipconfig and search for your IPv4 address. Here is my IPv4 address 192.68.56.1. So http colon 192.168.56.1. Yeah, it is 56.1. And our file name is greetings.php. Okay, before going to use this URL with the Android application, we can check whether this URL valid or not. So copy this URL, open your browser and put it on the address bar. Yeah, this is the response from server. So this URL is working fine. Okay. So now we have to specify some click listener for the button. So button dot set on click listener. Okay, so whenever user click the button, we have to get the data from server and display the data on the text view. So in order to use Volley, first thing you have to specify a request queue. Then you have to create your request and send that request to the request queue. So here is a simple string request. So first thing we have to create a request queue. So here I am going to use a convenience method called the new request queue. So this method will initialize the request queue with all the default values and it automatically start the request queue. So here it is a simple string request. So you can use the Volley library method called the new request queue. So first we have to specify the request queue. I name the variable as a request queue and use the Volley convenience method called the new request queue and specify the context. So here we need this request queue only for this activity. So main activity dot this. Okay, so this is our request queue. Now we have to specify, we have to create the string request. Here we need a string from the server. So here the request type is string request. So start a new string request. I name it as string request is equal to new string request. So the first argument is the method type, the HTTP method type. So here I am going to use the post type. So request dot method, and here the method is post. Second argument, you have to specify the URL, server URL. Here it is available on this variable called the server URL. Now the third argument, you have to specify a response listener. So the third URL is a response listener, and the last argument is an error listener. Okay, so here we have two listeners. First one is for the response and second one is for the error. The server response will get in this method called on response. If there is some error happens, if there is some exceptions, we will get that error on this method called on error response. So we get the server response from this variable called a string response. So we have to display the server response on the text view. So text view dot set text, and here the response, and after get the response we can close the request queue, we can stop the request queue. So request queue dot stop. If there is some error happens, we can display the error on the text view. So text view dot set text, something went wrong, and print the stack trace. Here also we can stop the request queue. Okay, so now the string request is ready. Now we need to add the string request to the request queue. So after this one, we have to add the request to the request queue. So request queue dot add, and here it is a string request. Okay, now we finish the coding. Now here I am going to test this application on a Genymotion virtual device. So start a Genymotion virtual device. Okay, now the virtual device is ready. Now we can run the application, run it. Select the virtual device. Okay, now the application available on this virtual device. So when we click this button, we have to get the server response within this text view. So I click the button. Here is the response from server. So this is how we make a simple request using Volley. I hope you understand the concepts. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.